Hello and welcome to ICAPGen's video on the Level 2 General Questions section. My name is Julie Stoddard and I am an accredited genealogist professional specializing in the Mid-South region of the United States. Becoming accredited distinguishes the professional level genealogist from the amateur, so the accreditation exams are rigorous and intensive. These test preparation steps will help you to not only be successful on the test, but also to become a better researcher. For ICAPGen's Level 2 written exam, you will need to pass with a score of 90% or better on both the document interpretation and general questions section. Each of these sections is 2 hours long and they are both open book. If you only pass one of the two sections with 90%, you will be allowed to retake the test on just the section that you did not pass. Let's talk about the types of questions that are asked in the general questions section. First of all, the questions are to assess your ability to comprehend and apply knowledge. The majority of these questions are short answer, but there can also be some essays or multiple choice questions. The general questions section will test you on the following categories. First, the history or geography of your region, and then on research methodology. You will also be asked questions about the record types in your region and the content of online sources and electronic databases. You will find research planning questions on the test, and then the final category would be other questions. Start by gathering information on the historical events and major dates that affect research in your region of interest. Some information on this can be found in the Family Search Wiki articles, such as the one on United States history, which has links to each individual state and their history. There are similar articles for various other countries. For your section on geography, you can include maps and gazetteers. You would want to include maps of your country, state, and the counties or other jurisdictions of your region. Maps of migration trails can be especially helpful, and there are many other links and resources to include in this section. Methodology can be defined as using the best practices and strategies in deciding which records you would use and how to use them. So questions on methodology could include what records would you use to solve a particular problem, possibly in a specific time period or region. One way to prepare for this section of the test is to study ICAPGen's page for your region. Under testing regions, you can find regional resources. You can see that on ICAPGen's website, if you choose Become Accredited on the tabs, then you have the option for testing regions and regional resources. Then by clicking on your region, it will bring up a PDF of your important record types and the strategies and resources for your region. As mentioned before, one of the important aspects of methodology is knowing which record types to search for a particular research problem. One way to determine this is to go to the Family Search Wiki and type in Record Finder. The wiki has articles for many countries that would let you know that for what you're looking for, which records to try first and then other ones to try after. To improve your methodology, it is very important that you understand the various record types for the area that you're researching. For example, you need to understand what you can expect to find in those and how to access them. And the Family Search Wiki articles on each record type and the articles on the various countries are very beneficial in explaining this. For example, in this article on United States immigration and immigration, you can see in the beginner's corner that it talks about what these records are and what time periods and locations they cover, what you can hope to find in them and how to access them, and then finally some search strategies. One thing you can do to benefit you on the test as well as in your own future research is to create a methodology guide. For example, this one was created for how to find a spouse or a maiden name. And the record types are listed in order of those most likely to be successful. First of all, based on the record content, and second of all, for ease of access. For example, church records would have the maiden name listed, but accessing those records can sometimes be time consuming, so they're not very high up on the list. The next category of questions on the test would be the important record types for your region. Most of the testing regions have three categories of records: the must know very well, good working knowledge, and those that you need to have some familiarity with. Here is an example of the important record types for the Mid-Atlantic region, and you can see the three categories of must know very well, good working knowledge, and some familiarity. These important record types can be found on ICAPGen's website under the Become Accredited tab and then under the testing regions. These important record types are the records you should consider first as you determine your methodology. As you study the important record types for your region, you want to make sure you understand three things: their content, so what you can expect to find in the records, their availability, especially what's online, including the major repositories in your area, and then the coverage of dates and geographic areas for those record types. One place to start learning about the record types would be to read the Family Search Wiki articles about the specific record you're learning about. These wiki articles can explain the three questions we just asked about their content, their availability, and their coverage. Here is an example from my research reference guide on military records, where I was trying to compile the information on what can I find in the records, where can I find them, and what dates do they cover. The fourth category of questions that may appear on your Level 2 test are the records that are available online. For example, you should know the online sources and electronic databases, and that would include both the nonprofit and the commercial databases. You will want to know how to use their catalogs so you can find the information quickly. You'll especially want to understand the major databases, state archives, and genealogical societies. Also, understand the indexes and other collections that are available for your region. Other questions that will appear on your test will involve some research planning. There will often be two questions in this section on the research planning, and also you'll find in the document interpretation section of the test other questions on research planning. The research planning questions are based on a document or story problem that they provide, and they will ask you to suggest 5 or so sources that you would search, and then tell what you hope to find in each of those sources. One suggestion on approaching these research planning questions is to ask yourself, what are the most likely records in this region and time period to contain the information I need? You can also watch the ICAPGen video on research planning for more details. The final category on your test would be other questions that are applicable to your region. One way to prepare for this is to understand the suggestions on ICAPGen's Research Reference Guide page. This provides some ideas of what other types of questions might be asked. Here is what the beginning of that Research Reference Guide page looks like, and you can see that they will have specific suggestions. ICAPGen suggests that you create guides for your country and also for the states or other divisions within your region. You could include the year of independence or the year it became a state, the years the civil registration or vital records began, also the years of available census or population schedules, and include the federal, state, and territorial censuses. Then list the major genealogical publications and the major genealogical or historical societies. Other ideas include gathering a list of the unique sources and key records available for your region. Also, a list of the key reference materials and the archives and libraries for your region or country. You may also want to gather articles on the customs and laws applicable to your region and time period. So how do you prepare for this section of the test and gather all this information? You can start with the Family Search Wiki or Ancestry Academy, but there are also other online articles, blogs, and webinars. You can also attend conferences and classes on genealogy, or watch the ICAPGen video on creating a research reference guide, which goes in depth in each of the categories we've discussed today. Also, there are research books like Val Greenwood's The Researcher's Guide to American Genealogy, or Mark Herber's Ancestral Trails, which is a comprehensive book on British research. A couple of suggestions which can help as you study for the test would be first to find someone else preparing for the test and create questions for each other. Or you could also create a list of possible questions for yourself. As you consider the information you need to gather to prepare for the Level 2 General Questions test, it is important to realize that these categories are areas that will improve not only your test, but also your skills as a genealogy researcher. They are not trying to ask trick questions or obscure questions, but rather they focus on questions that a competent professional researcher should know.